If you're thinking about investing in real estate in Japan, you're gonna wanna watch this. In this video, even though I'm Japanese and live in Japan, I'm gonna talk about the top 4 reasons why I don't invest in real estate in Japan, where I can qualify for below 1% interest rates for a mortgage. My name is Shumatsuo Post, and welcome to my channel. I'm an author, wrote a book that has nothing to do with real estate investing, but everything to do with freedom. And I'm also a real estate investor based in Japan, and I own 17 doors of rentals in the US. I'm here to make real estate investing less scary and help people achieve financial independence and personal freedom. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. And if you have already, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So let's get started. Okay, so Japan. I love this country. It's my home country where I grew up. So it hurts for me to say this, that I will never buy rentals in Japan, even though I can get a loan with a very low interest rate. Okay, so here are the reasons. Number 1, rapidly decreasing and aging population. Earlier this year, Elon Musk tweeted that unless something drastic happens, Japan will eventually cease to exist. Whoa, is he saying that the Japanese are going extinct? Well, he's not entirely wrong. According to the Japanese National Institute of Population and Social Security Research, in the year 3000, there will only be 62 people in Japan. 62. But dude, that's like 1,000 years away. Yeah, we're going extinct in many years, but my point is our population is decreasing very fast since 2008. It's also getting very old. A whopping 29% of the population is over 65, and this number keeps increasing. This is due to being one of the world's lowest fertility rates combined with the highest expectancy. Generally, an aging population doesn't want to move into rentals as much, and they will move in with their children or stay in their home that they own. Needless to say, the future of rental real estate is not bright over here. 2. Depreciation. Housing is a depreciating asset in Japan. Well, it's supposed to be that way, right? Everywhere else too, but in the US, housing markets almost always appreciate long term. Like in other countries, Japanese homes gradually depreciate over time, becoming completely valueless within 20 or 30 years. Wait, so what's the point of owning real estate here? In Japan, when you buy a house, you're paying mostly for the land. The house and bones of the house are relatively worthless. Where in America, even if you renovate, the bones of the houses are sometimes over a century old and still valuable. With that said, very few people want to pay a worthwhile rent to live in a house that is more than 20 or 30 years old. Which means to be able to command a meaningful rent, you have to tear down and completely rebuild every 20 to 30 years. Ouch! That sounds expensive. I know investors who have cash flowing rentals in Japan. Tenants here tend to be very low maintenance, so they're pretty hands-off investments. But the real wealth is created in appreciation. So even if your rental property cash flows for $10,000 a year, if the value of the home and land goes down even more, your total return on investment might be negative. So I was talking to my parents about their primary home, which they built in the 80s, and they said if they were to sell it today, they wouldn't get what they paid for. It's less than 40 years old. I have a rental property in the US that's over 100 years old, and it's still appreciating in value. No appreciation, no thank you. 3. Restrictions on short-term rentals. Okay, so if it doesn't work for long-term investment, how about investing in short-term with short-term rentals? Tokyo, our capital, often tops the list of Asian cities to visit. Now that the country is officially open to regular travelers, there's a big demand for Airbnb, right? Yes, there is. But the bad news is restrictions on short-term rentals like Airbnb are very tight in Japan. My parents own a duplex and rent out 1 unit for Airbnb. Not only did they have to go through many hoops with the local authorities to get a certificate for renting the place for short-term stays, but they can only do it for 180 days a year, according to the Private Lodging Business Act in Japan. So it could be a nice side gig, but you can only use your asset to generate income for half the year. And number 4, natural disasters. Earthquakes, tsunamis, typhoons, and volcanoes. Welcome to the country of natural disasters. Fun fact, Japan only accounts for about 0.3% of the world's land area and just about 2% of its population, but it is the site of almost 20% of earthquakes with a magnitude of 6 or greater and 7% of all active volcanoes. This is no joke. And Japan's houses and buildings are extremely earthquake resilient, but repairs can still be costly. Even the best homes will have damage after a few 8.0 magnitude earthquakes. These natural disasters are something that no one can predict, and they can happen anywhere in Japan. With the Japanese yen being so weak right now, it is tempting to see Japan as an attractive real estate market, especially if you have US dollars to invest. Living in Japan and having access to loans with very low interest rates, I am often tempted to dip my toe into the water to understand the Japanese real estate market. But these reasons keep me away from investing in my home country. Would you invest in Japan, the US, or another country? Let me know in the comment below. If you like this video and want to see more content from me, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Come back next week because I'll be back every week sharing tips on achieving financial independence and personal freedom.